Thank you, Tim. Content overwhelm in the digital first environment. So the next speaker is going to tell us whether smart TV has the answer. And that's Andy Jones from Samsung Ads. Andy, over to you.
Hi, everyone. This has teed me up quite nicely after that. Thanks very much for having me. So I'm Andy. I look after the sales team at Samsung Ads. I want to talk about content discovery. So clearly, connected TV is a massive buzzword, and rightly so. And I want to talk to you about our evolving influence in this space and try and explain why we've got more of a voice. And I think, given that I work at Samsung, I think humbly, I'd like to think, we've got a degree of experience in this space. So for the last 16 consecutive years, Samsung's been the world's #1 manufacturer of TVs in pretty much every single major market. And we even made the first connected TV back in 2008. So we hope we come with a little bit of relevance. So TV's changed. Thanks very much for your time. It's with insight like that I get invited to speak. We've come a long way, of course we have, from that dumb, single-purpose device that some of us in this room once owned. They are now beautiful machines, right? But let's just take a little bit of a step back. It might seem a little bit irrelevant, but from a manufacturer's point of view, just a few years ago, there would be 5 key factors deciding that you would go through to decide what TV you would buy next. Those 5 factors were: how big is the screen size you want it to be, the quality of the picture, the quality of the sound, your preference for a particular brand, and finally the price. Now those 5 factors were pretty much the only things you thought about, but now when you buy a TV, that decision making has become slightly more nuanced. We've talked about how fragmented it is and how complex this whole market that we work in has become. So having a TV that allows voice control, voice search to discover content is really, really important. And it's important that it's not just our Bixby, it's integrated with Alexa and Google as well. And also a very, very simple remote, almost as simple as this. One simple remote to truly control all the other devices that are attached to your TV, right? It's about simplifying. But also the needs of the customer are really changing. So for obvious reasons, we've been at home a lot more. So it's the ability to sync your PC with your TV, so it becomes an extension of your TV, so it's the monitor. Gamers have very particular needs in terms of picture modes, so there's a particular functionality for gamers. Multi-screening, so you tap your phone. If you've got Android, just tap your phone against the side of the TV and you create multiple screens. Also, inbuilt health apps, so you can exercise from the comfort of your home, and you can also sync that with your phone to create a camera, so it actually sees the workout that you're doing. My particular favorite, the Frame. Beautiful devices that when they're turned off and on standby mode, they turn into a picture, so they don't look like a TV. And finally, through a SmartThings app, then you can control all the internet-enabled devices from your home. But of course, content is really, really important. So viewers have the choice of hundreds, maybe even thousands of apps they could download. So as a manufacturer, our responsibility is to provide the broadest range of apps that we possibly can, because that's what the viewers need and that's what the viewers expect. To be blunt, if we didn't have a couple of the big apps that are on that screen there, we wouldn't sell as many TVs. So it is that important to us. Oh, how did that get there? An ad. So also the TV manufacturer, so Samsung TV Plus, is now in the content game. So we are working with many people in this room to create a free ad-supported TV channel that is free to download, and it can be accessed on your TV, your mobile, and tablet. So all of those features and functions, we could go on and go into the nitty-gritty of it, but that's really, really important from a manufacturer to provide as part of the TV. And increasingly, that's as the consumer will start evaluating as they choose what TV to buy next. I really hope my marketing team are not in here, but I added this one. I talk a lot about the space that we're in. We're going through the same evolution as mobile. I loved my Nokia phone. I used it to make calls and send texts and play far too much Snake. Once I upgraded to my smartphone, I still make calls and send texts, but the functionality is endless on that smart device. It's the same is true with TV. The dumb device that I showed at the beginning, that was used just to watch linear. I still watch a lot of linear, but now that I've upgraded to my smart TV and I've got the choice of thousands of apps, my type of viewing has changed enormously. And if we take that analogy one step forward, I pick up my phone now. It's a smartphone. I don't call it a smartphone. I now turn on my TV. I don't call it my smart TV. So pretty soon we will be dropping the S or the C in the connected TV or smart TV. It's just the way things will go because every single manufacturer is producing smart TVs that have got the apps embedded. So pretty soon that will just be so commonplace that we won't have a CTV summit. It will just be a TV summit. Anyway, with all the apps, with all the functionality, usage is changing. We're seeing an explosion of apps that are open from our home screen. So 3.6 billion app opens in just Q1 this year. That's up 16% year on year. And that's up, and the year before was up significantly more than that with the effects of lockdown. I thought this was quite a startling stat. We are seeing an alarming drop in connected devices into our TVs. So set-top boxes, when I first started at Samsung towards the end of 2019, I was talking about nearly half of all of our active TVs, that's from 2016 onwards, nearly half of those had a set-top box. That's down to just 24%. And when you look at the 2021 models of our TVs, that number is just 7%. So we're very early single digits for connected devices. And that's exactly the same story with streaming sticks. That went from 11% down to 5% in the same period. Why? It's because the apps that those streaming devices were providing for the TV are now already embedded in the TV, so you just don't need them. So that TV is becoming, the cord cutting's happening, that TV is becoming the one and only destination for the viewing needs. But there's a lot of choice, and this is a survey done by PwC, and we've covered it in many of the sessions today. There is a decision paralysis. So 29% of their respondents said there's almost too much choice. So they don't know where to start. And increasingly, though, they're looking for the TV. So 79% of their respondents were looking for the TV itself to give content recommendations. So it was disappointing not to see the TV on the previous presentation, but we are seeing this is our role. I kind of sort of bulk it even writing this, but we all know this. Content is king when it comes to TV. It's a very, very common phrase and one that everyone's heard of, but it's still absolutely true today. This is the one main deciding factor for people choosing what to watch. But the rules are changing because the viewer, the consumer, is just as impactful. They have more content choice, but they are deciding what to watch when they want to watch it. They're far less constrained by the traditional schedule. So whilst we talk about content being king, so too is the consumer. And it's up to the apps and the broadcasters to understand that not only do they need the best content, but they must be discoverable. So like I said, we created the first connected TV back in 2008, and wow, it's changed a lot since then. But our role has been to help influence viewing behaviors, helping brands, helping apps get downloaded, apps to sign up to, content to be viewed. And I've just got a few examples here of the work we do with our app partners, because by default, we as the TV has become the search engine for TV. The very first time that search is really embedded into TV. So the moment that TV is turned on, we're given content suggestions of what to watch. And like I say, the rules are different now. Every single app or channel or partner on our TVs is competing for exactly the same thing, and that's the attention of the viewer. So the broadcasters who used to just be competing against themselves are no longer just competing against each other for broadcaster and for ratings. They are competing against the subscription services. We all know them. They're competing against us as an AVOD partner. They're competing against the games consoles. They're competing against Porsche TV and Red Bull TV. I know it's as extraordinary as that sounds, but everyone is going for the same attention of the viewer. And we use our ad placements and our native ad placements to grab the attention of the viewer and move them into a games console or an app or even interact with the brand. Okay, and it works. And this is, I haven't shared this before, but there's a lot of talk about prominence on our TVs, right? And prominence, but in combination with promotion, really does work. So this is a work that we did earlier on in the year with a very well-known app. So I won't share who that was with, but organically they got about 3% traffic into their app. That's without any promotion at all. Once you tell people at the right time, the right audience with the right message, we saw app open rate massively increase, about 430%. So around about 16% of all viewers clicking into that app. It works. Here's another probably terrible analogy, but prominence is one thing. Having a app on the home screen of a TV is like having the shop on the high street. It's important to be on that high street. But if you're not telling anyone about what your brand is or what products you're selling, people will just walk on by. So it's vital that they're doing both. And if we're not promoting content from the home screen, then there's a function of our TVs that when you're on the home screen and press down, you go into an area called the Universal Guide. It's very, very similar to a kind of an Amazon recommends. You bought this product, we think these products are going to be relevant for you. So in our world, you watch this content, we think this content will be relevant for you. And it's not just looking at linear, it's looking at all types of viewing. And it's this holistic view, and there's this great data set that partly explains why we created a media business. And I won't cover this in too much depth, but as a manufacturer, we are extremely fortunate with the measurement that we can provide, but it's not something that we take lightly, because everything that we do has privacy at the core, because we need to protect the relationship that we've got with that customer. They bought our TV after all, so we need to do everything that we can to maintain that trust. So everything that we do is GDPR compliant, and we're very rigorous in that, and we make sure that we apply the same work in all European markets, because they have different privacy laws. We are recording data from a shared device, so it's not personally identifiable. And we also ensure that there's a double opt-in. Why is it double opt-in? Because we know they'll assign their life away to take the TV out of the box and turn it on for the first time. So we ask a consent for the second time. And we've even go so far as to create an app that sits on our TVs that any given time they can go into the app and see what we're doing with the data, and they can opt out at any time. But once they are opted in, data is core to our offering. And this could be categorized into 4 ways. First, the data that we know about the TV set itself. So we know the screen size, the type of TV. Of course, it's a Samsung, but what type? Is it a 90-inch? Is it a 32-inch? Is it high definition, or is it an 8K? We also know the internet service provider and the IP address, so we've got a pretty good idea of the location of that TV. Then, that's our hardware, but we know the third-party hardware as well, so what's stuck into the back of the TV via the HDMI. So we know the set-top box, we know the type of games console that's being used. And to add another acronym, ACR, so automatic content recognition. So at any given moment, we are matching the picture that's on the screen to the database of known content. So that gives us a deterministic first-party view of how that TV is being used. So we know the programs that are being viewed, we know the apps that are being used, we know the games that are being played, we also know the ads that are being shown. And finally, because it's a shared device, we work with third parties now, and this is an area that will be really increasing over time. The type of third-party data providers who've got a view of that same household, so we can start using age and demographic and behavioral data as well. But TV is the best driving force for reach and scale, but reaching the same level of audience is harder than ever before. So on our TVs, 25% of our active TV user base are very light linear viewers. They watch less than 3 hours a month of linear TV. An additional 22% of our TVs are watching no linear at all. So you add those two numbers together, 47%, so it's nearly half of our TV base in the UK is watching less than 3 hours of linear TV a month. So reaching them through linear alone is nigh on impossible on these smart TVs. Now, we might be deemed by some as being a little bit sensationalist. Of course, we can only measure our TVs. We will only ever be able to measure our TVs. But Kantar say that we're about 30% of the market. So through sheer size alone, we're fairly statistically representative of the UK. And also, we are not the only manufacturer of smart TVs. Pretty much every manufacturer is creating smart TVs. So is this the view of the entire TV market right now? No. But it is a view of signs of things to come. Then I think it's fair to say it absolutely is. And this is my final slide, don't you worry. The way we work with advertisers is pretty much using our scale and our data and our insights. And we deliver ads across a number of different sort of placements. But the main goal is for incremental reach and using our data for insights and help them with their total TV buy. And I think we're a pretty exciting place. I mean, we're talking about how fragmented it is, but we're just at the start of this. And certainly as a manufacturer, we've got a very unique perspective to see who's winning in the content wars, but who's also winning the discovery war as well, because the winners and losers are still yet to be decided. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Andy. That was great.
All right, timing-wise.
Thank you, Andy. That was